Oh, hi, everybody. I just got back from Ireland, and they've got a mass immigration problem, but they have another problem designed to hide the first problem. They have a problem with the regime media, which doesn't uncover the truth, as journalists are supposed to do. They cover it up. Let me show you a prime example. It's from a newspaper called the Irish Examiner, and they tweeted this story about the rally that I went over there to cover. And you can see my full video report at migrantreports.com. It was a very interesting rally. This little tweet by the Irish Examiner has 300,000 impressions. Now, I think most of the people who read it were sort of hate reading it. If you look at the replies, it's overwhelmingly negative. I was on my way home from Ireland when I saw this, and I read it on the plane, and I want to show you my response, and I'll allude to what I'm responding to. This is some of the most deceptive reporting I've ever seen in any democratic country. Obviously, you see worse in dictatorships like China. But this is so well done, better than you would see in China. It's well done in terms of sheer skill. It's not the skill of a journalist, though. It's the skill of a propagandist, a spokesman for the regime. This piece in the Irish Examiner is perhaps the best and therefore worst propaganda I've ever read about mass immigration. Let me read to you what I wrote, which itself had nearly 250,000 views, which I think shows how mad people were about it. So here's what I wrote on the plane. I said, Ireland's regime media are lying to their readers again. There's a reason why fewer people trust them every day. This story by the Irish Examiner about yesterday's dueling protests is pure disinformation. There were indeed 5,000 people at the Grand Parade in Cork yesterday, all combined, but the Examiner deceives readers by not reporting that the pro-Irish rally was 10 to 20 times bigger than the pro-Hamas rally. This is obviously done to undermine the real news of the day, that opposition to immigration is massive. And unlike the pro-Hamas counter-protest, it's authentic and organic, not arranged and funded by government NGOs. The Examiner reports without skepticism a pro-Hamas activist's laughable claim to having 4,500 people there. They had about 250 people. And then just asserts without attribution that the pro-Ireland protest had fewer people. This isn't reporting the news. This is covering it up. They don't want their readers to know just how unpopular mass immigration has become. This agenda is seen in the deceptive choices of photos. The Examiner's pictures of the pro-Hamas protesters are shot to make the crowd look as large as possible, whereas pictures of the pro-Irish protesters strategically minimize the size of the crowd. And for some reason, they have so many photos of the mini Hamas protests. I don't understand it. Now, the Examiner calls the pro-Irish march far right and calls me personally that too. They refer to me, but they don't use my name. Without defining the word far right or giving any proof, if they mean anti-Semitic, which is how the word is often used by the left, it's quite a trick. I'm Jewish myself, and the Jew hatred I saw there was from the pro-Hamas protesters and their support for the extermination of Israel. Why did the Examiner cover that up? I wonder if it's because they share the views of those pro-Hamas protesters, that they hid how beastly they were in their comments. The Examiner calls the organizer of the pro-Irish rally, Derek Bly, a, quote, agitator, without defining that word or giving any factual basis for the slur. That's not journalism, that's name-calling. Why is he described as an agitator and not a bricklayer, which is what he is? But the pro-Hamas activists are described as poets and film directors. The Examiner quoted just 15 words total from all the pro-Irish speeches, but 4 times as many from the pro-Hamas speeches. The Examiner accurately reports that many of the pro-Irish protesters had the Irish flag, but they chose to omit the fact that the pro-Hamas protesters did not. They had just 3 Irish flags. By contrast, they had dozens of Palestinian flags and some transgender flags too. If you relied on the Examiner, you would think the pro-Hamas rally was huge and politically moderate, and that the pro-Irish march was small and extremist. In fact, the exact opposite was true. The Examiner engaged in pure disinformation. This is to be expected, though. Just like the pro-Hamas protesters, the Examiner receives money from the Irish government, so it naturally toes their line. Thankfully, there were many citizen journalists there, not just myself, but others who will get the word out through social media about what really happened. And I think thousands of people took their own photos and made their own videos and their comments. But it just goes to show that these days, you can't trust the mainstream media. They're in league with the government. They're an auxiliary of the government, and often they're paid by the government. Rebel News has never taken a government dime, and we never will. For more on that story, go to migrantreports.com.